Hi there. So this is Dixie Mitchell. I'm Julian Fuller, both of Mitchell's Prestige Properties. And today we're going to talk about non-resident property taxes in Spain. And we'll be touching upon two different types and we'll kind of do them in order, one at a time. So, first of all, speaking about non-resident property tax, who needs to pay this?
Okay, if you own a property in Spain, but you live in Spain, you live outside of Spain for more than 183 days,
Yeah.
you are classified as a non-tax resident in Spain. Therefore, you need to submit this form.
Okay. And how's that calculated? What they pay?
Okay, the non-residence tax is calculated by the cadastral value of the property, and basically each town hall addresses the value of the properties. This information you will find in your EV receipt, and there is a formula to be calculated, which we can share to you later. But basically, it is based on the cadastral value of your asset.
I see. Right, so they're paying this tax, and people who've been in Spain for less than 183 days. Now, this is probably quite a relevant question to a lot of people who've bought over recent years, and probably mainly for some people next year. Does it apply to golden visa holders?
Yes, that's a good question. We've had a few clients that have asked me that. And basically, it will go back to the initial answer. If you spend more than 183 days outside of Spain, you are a non-tax resident, which means you have to submit this tax. When you get the golden visa, you get a residence permit, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are a tax resident of Spain.
Sure.
So if you're a non-tax resident, this form has to be submitted. It's a declaration of your asset in Spain.
Yeah, I see. The golden visa part is more related to freedom of movement. It still is down to whether you've been in Spain for 183 days or less.
It's more related to whether you are a tax resident of Spain or not. And a lot of people that have the golden visa, as you quite rightly said, want the freedom of movement, but they don't necessarily want to be a tax resident of Spain for the time being. So whilst you're in that situation, then you need to submit the tax. As I said, is a declaration of your asset in Spain, and obviously then we can talk about renters and stuff like that. But yes, they do have to submit it if they're not tax residents.
Okay, so that is one, and you've just actually touched upon the other. Rental income taxes, because of course we also have many clients who maybe use the property but also rent it, or some who only rent it as well. What's the situation with this tax?
Okay, so basically, if you have rented the property throughout the year, you have to submit, again, if you're a non-resident, you have to submit this tax in January for the previous year. Our fiscal year, our tax year, it runs from January to December, and this tax is presented in January. So in January 2026, you will have to present your rental income of 2025. But many clients don't rent their property all year round. They rent it perhaps in the winter, perhaps in the summer. So in this case, you will have to submit two tax forms. One for the rental income and the other one, the non-residence tax, which is the declaration of the asset.
Yeah. Okay. I see. So basically two different times as well, effectively.
Yeah, correct. Because the non-residence tax form has to be submitted before the end of the year. But 2025, we submit the tax for the previous year.
Yes.
So for the non-resident, for the declaration of the asset, you have to submit the tax for the previous year. And for the rental income, it's submitted in January for the year we're current year at the moment.
I imagine that once the owners are familiar with this, and then of course they either have ourselves assisting or a store or both, that becomes much less of a thing to worry about each year and more of just a cycle. I've got a few other questions though, but joint ownership. So we've got situations where it might just be man and wife, but it might also be a number of investors who have a share in the same property. How does that work with these taxes? Can one person take responsibility and pay all the taxes, or
No. Whoever owns the property and whoever is in the deed has to submit the tax.
Okay.
What for your percentage of ownership is calculated based on that. So it's not like everybody's going to pay exactly, the full amount of the property. It's calculated on your ownership. So 4 owners have the property. They each have to submit the tax.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And that would be the same for man and wife.
That's the same for man and wife. That's the same when there's a couple of children that own the property. Each of them have to submit the tax form for their asset.
Okay.
Because they all own it.
I see. All right. So that is interesting. So really, the status means nothing. It's down to the individuals who own the deeds.
Correct.
All right. So how are these taxes paid?
Okay. So both taxes are usually paid by direct debit. The tax forms are prepared by the accountant, and he automatically sorts it out, submit them by direct debit. What is important to highlight is that all owners must be account holders. Otherwise, the bank could reject the payment. And if this situation happens, then it's challenging because then you'd have to come over in person and pay the tax. So you just need to make sure that if you have a property here and you are going to submit these taxes, that you are also an account holder where the tax is being submitted.
Okay. And so for man and wife, if they've got a joint account, that would suffice.
Perfect.
For example.
Perfect.
Oh.
But I've had situations, and the reason that I bring this up is I've had situations where there's a couple and their children, and they all own the property, but they're not in the account. And so basically what we've worked out a way to sort this out with the accountant is that the couple who are the account holders are direct debit, and the forms for the children that own the property, they take it to the bank and they pay it in person. Because otherwise the bank will reject it, and then obviously this creates an issue.
I
So
see.
you just need to know about this.
I see. So that would probably work quite well, maybe for a group of investors as well. They have that ability to. Am I correct?
Or unless they're all in the bank account. The only thing is if one person from the owners it doesn't have an account in Spain, then you cannot direct debit it, and it means you need to go to the bank yourself and make sure you pay it before the end of the year. So take this into account if that situation is there at the moment for any reason you didn't open the account at the beginning, but you're planning to come next year. But just make sure that the form is paid before the end of the year.
Okay. I've got an interesting question. How about properties with multiple deeds? Because we come across it quite a lot. There could be an apartment, it might have 2 parking spaces, each with their own deed, and a storage with their own deed. How are these taxes broken down in these kind of situations?
Yeah, good. So if it's a couple and there's the property, the parking, and the storage, they each have the deed, then it's 6 forms.
Oh, wow. Okay.
6 forms. But obviously it sounds like a lot, but it's straightforward. It's just that we're being very thorough, and we are trying to get our clients and to ensure that everything is done the correct way.
Yeah.
You present one form for all of it. I've had situations where clients have had a letter, asking for the taxes that were not presented, and even though they were not done correctly, because each property that has a deed has to submit its own tax form.
Okay, yeah, got you. So really, yeah, it sounds like it's potentially a lot of work, but if you've got a store in place, and of course those working alongside and advising, then really it's going to be quite a straightforward procedure.
It is. We obviously support all our clients post completion. We remind them this is what we're doing now. We send letters, and we ensure we let them know, what has to be done to prepare the tax form. We send them the calculations before it's submitted as direct debited. So everything, we have a legal assistant in the office that provides this support for everyone to ensure that all your property taxes in Spain are paid and you're up to date with it.
I see. Okay, well, so that covers today the property taxes in Spain for non-residents. Now, if anybody wants to reach out to us for information on what they need to pay, of course, we can give you any assistance you need on that. It's something that we're quite active with at this time of year. We thought it would be a good idea to put this video out there. So please get in touch if you have any questions.
Thank you.